Selamat datang ke Malaysia. I took a three-ish or weekend, 2-day, 2.5-day trip to Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. Fascinating city. Just stayed around there and went to different things. I stayed around the Bintang area, which is close to a food street, which is very cool. The Jalan Alor food street. Lots of different food, a lot of different Chinese dishes too. It is a pretty famous street, and just walked around there at night. I then made my way to the Petronas Twin Towers, one of the most famous landmarks in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Construction began in 1993 and completed in 1998. They stand at 452 meters, 88 stories, with the sky bridge on the 41st and 42nd floor. And mainly in here is the offices and shopping malls, restaurants, etc. From there, I made my way to Saloma Link, which is just a bridge that connects one part of the area in Malaysia to the other. Fun fact about this bridge, it's actually named after a famous Malaysian singer and actress, Salmoa. The next day, I took a train and made my way to the Batu Caves complex. This complex is made up of several limestone caves and temples, all surrounded by these enormous cliffs. These limestone formations are incredibly old, around 400 million years old. Over the millions of years, rainwater and erosion slowly formed these caves and the dramatic landscape that you see now. While exiting the train station, you'll walk past smaller caves and smaller temples, etc. These are also important as they're very religious, Hindu religious sites still, and people come pray throughout the year to make offerings and celebrate religious festivals here. Many of these different temples or caves pray to or have certain characters depicting from certain stories in Hindu tradition, including Lord Rama, Sita, and Haman. Standing in front of the Batu Cave, the main cave, I guess, is Lord Murungan. This statue is 42.7 meters or 140 feet, making it one of the tallest statues of Lord Murung in the world. He is associated with courage, victory, and the triumph of good over evil. He holds a spear called the veil. In Hindu tradition, this veil is a powerful symbol associated with Morong. Then you go up the stairs, which is 272 steps. These stairs aren't a simple way of getting up there to the top, but for Hindu devotees, climbing these stairs towards the temple can also represent a spiritual journey, moving upwards towards the sacred place. It wasn't until the late 19th century that the Tamil Hindu community began developing Batu Caves as a place of worship, dedicated to the Lord Murugan. According to tradition, a Hindu leader was inspired by the shape of the main cave entrance, which resembled the sacred spear. By around 1890s or so, the Apuzam was already being celebrated, and this is a festival that has become very important within the Hindu community. I then made my way to Rex KL, which is a creative and cultural hub featuring restaurants, cafes, independent businesses, events, art, etc., and a famous bookstore. This building used to be an old cinema back in 1946 as the Rex Theater. but then was abandoned and now turned into this cultural hub. At the heart of Kuala Lumpur lies Merdeka Square, surrounded by some of the city's most important historical buildings. This was once the center of colonial Kuala Lumpur when the small tin mining settlement was developing into the administrative capital of British Malaya. Dominating the square is the magnificent Sultan Abdul Samad building, completed in 1897. Its red brick walls, horseshoe arches, copper domes, and 41-meter clock tower reflect the Indo-Saracenic and Moorish architectural style popular during that period. Across the square stands the Royal Cigar Club, established in the 19th century as a social center for European community, with its famous cricket field fencing facing the square. Nearby, the historic old General Post Office was once a part of the city's communications network in the former FMS Survey Office, where maps and surveys were produced during the development of Malaya. The Kuala Lumpur City Gallery occupies another historic building associated with the city's former printing and administrative functions. Just beyond the square is Masjid Jamek, which opened in 1909 at the confluence of Klang and Gambak rivers, traditionally regarded as the birthplace of Kuala Lumpur. Its graceful domes, minarets, and arches provide another example of Islamic or Moorish influence that shaped the city's early architecture. Nearby, the National Textile Museum, originally built as a railway office, reflects another chapter of the colonial era and today tells the story of Malaysia's traditional textile heritage. Together, these buildings form a remarkable architectural landscape: government office, a post office, a club, a mosque, railway administration, printing and surveying institutions, all surrounding the same historic field. But most important chapter came on August 31st, 1957. Here, before a huge crowd, the British flag was lowered and the flag of Malaya was raised as independence was proclaimed. The field became known as Merdeka Square, Independence Square. Today, the historic buildings remain as reminders of the city's colonial past, while the square itself represents the moment Kuala Lumpur became part of a new independent nation. I then headed to Central Market, or Pasar Seni, which began in 1888 just as a wet market and then soon developed into this distinctive Art Deco building we see today, completed in 1937. Here, there are lots of the buildings are divided into cultural areas representing the country's diverse communities, reflecting Chinese, Indian, indigenous influences, and Malay that have shaped Malaysia. I then made my way to Menara Kuala Lumpur, or better known as KL Tower. Construction began in 1991 and officially opened in 1996, standing at 421 meters. It was built as a telecommunications and broadcasting tower, but also now has an observation deck. Next to the tower is a Jelutong tree, which is a reminder that what Kuala Lumpur looked like before with its rainforests, etc. But you can see the city skyline and everything from this observation tower. In the middle of Kuala Lumpur, surrounded by roads, towers, and consistent movement of a modern capital, there is a place where the city seems to slow down. This is the Pernada Botanical Garden, once known as Lake Gardens. Its story began in 1888 when KL was still a young mining settlement and the city was beginning to grow rapidly. The idea came from a guy named Alfred Vinning, a British state treasurer, who imagined creating a large public park where people could escape the heat, noise, and congestion of the developing town. With support of the colonial administration, a valley of swampy land was transformed into gardens, waterways, and open green space. At its center was an artificial lake, and during the colonial period, the landscape around the lake became a place for recreation, social life, and official ceremonies. Roads, clubs, and residents appeared around it, including the Carcosa, which was built of the hills overlooking the gardens, later associated with some of the highest levels of British administration in Malaya. What began as a colonial public park gradually became a place that reflected the identity of emerging Malaysian nation. The landscape has included specialized gardens and attractions, including orchids, hibiscus, birds, butterflies, and other collections of tropical life. The gardens became a place not only for recreation, but for appreciating Malaysia's extraordinary natural diversity. And today, the botanical gardens cover more than 90 acres. And perhaps what makes this most remarkable is that the city has risen around it, but the gardens have remained the same. At one end of the park, not too far from the gardens, on a hill overlooking Kuala Lumpur, stands the National Monument of Malaysia, or Tugu Negara. Completed in 1966, it honors those who fought and sacrificed their lives defending the country, particularly during the Second World War and the Malayan Emergency. The bronze figures represented courage, sacrifice, leadership, unity, and victory, while the surrounding gardens and reflecting pool create a quiet and solemn atmosphere. Nearby, the open memorial halls carry plaques and inscriptions commemorating those who served and those who lost their lives, be it eye level or on the ceiling. Together, this monument and its open spaces create a place of remembrance, a reminder that the peaceful Malaysia seen today was shaped by generations who lived through war, occupation, and conflict. At the other end of the botanical garden, a short distance away, stands the National Museum of Malaysia. This history reaches back further than the building we see today. Malaysia's museum tradition began during the colonial period. The Perak Museum in Tamping was established in 1883, followed by the Sarawak Museum in 1888 and the Selangor Museum in 1906. These earlier museums collected objects and documented the people, cultures, archaeology, and natural history of the region. Here, the Selangor Museum once stood at this site, but in 1945, during the Second World War, part of the museum was destroyed by an Allied bomb raid, and much of its collection was lost. After the war, and especially after the independence, the idea emerged for something different, a national museum that could tell the story of Malaysia. Construction began in 1959 and completed in 1963, the same year that the Federation of Malaya, Sabah, and Sarawak came together to form the new nation of Malaysia. The building's architecture was inspired by traditional palaces of the Malay rulers, with distinctive roofline and decorative details reflecting Malaya architecture traditions. Across the front are two large Italian glass mosaic murals depicting aspects of Malaysian history and traditional life. In the earliest galleries, it takes us back to the prehistoric times, to the first people who lived in this part of Southeast Asia. Among the most remarkable objects is represented by Parik Man, a prehistoric human skeleton dating roughly back to 10 to 11,000 years, which was discovered in Perak. In the 15th century, Malacca became one of the most important trading centers in Southeast Asia. It is positioned along the Strait of Malacca, which allowed it to connect merchants from east and west. This increase marked the beginning of the centuries of the European intervention. The Portuguese captured Malacca in 1511, and then the Dutch followed in 1641, and eventually British influence became dominant across much of Malay Peninsula. Then came the Japanese occupation during the Second World War. After the war became a growing demand for self-government. Nationalism spread, political movements developed, and finally, on August 31st, 1957, independence came. The people shouted Merdeka, Merdeka, which means freedom. Lastly, I visit Berjaya Times Square, which is one of the city's most ambitious modern developments. It's a big shopping mall that began in the 1990s, but then was delayed due to the Asian financial crisis, but then opened in 2003. Its indoor theme park with roller coasters and other attractions inside the building became one of the most distinctive features here in this shopping mall.